Welcome back to AI War 2. This is Paradigm Shift continuing, the rebalanced walkthrough of the game, still in beta with the changes. And we are going to look at some balance differences that have happened just since the last episode. One big one, as what I did at the end of the last episode can no longer be done. I did put a pinned comment on that in case anybody comes into that episode a little bit later. So the fleet capacity extenders are gone. So you can't do the doubling of them and then use the high capacity transport because that's gone too. And there's lots of balance changes. I just want to hit some of the high points here. Now, part of this is my fault. The change happening now was partly due to conversation I had with Chris after the last episode, but it was already being thought about anyway. So it probably would have happened, just perhaps not quite as soon. But the idea is getting more ships, instead of being able to just push an easy button by doubling the stuff that you like and then doubling it again, going more into the hacking, the ARS and whatnot. Another issue is that high capacity transport hack has been replaced by a high energy transport hack. If we take a look at one of our fleets over here, we can see that for 30 hacking, you can turn them into generating 400,000 extra energy. Now, the point with that is, you're not going to get caught in the loop that we've been in somewhat in this game, where you've got lots of hacking. Well, to get more energy, though, to be able to field all my ships, I've got to take more planets, which gives me more hacking, and so it's just sort of, you're stuck there. But you won't be stuck there anymore now that you can use hacking to get more energy and then leverage that energy to build more ships and turrets. All of that works out. Another big balancing bit has been with command stations and shields. Shields are weaker at the lower marks, still just as strong at the high marks, but they also don't have nearly the tech cost, so it's actually viable to go up to the high marks. So before, it was 2,500 and then 4,000 for the first couple of upgrades. And you can see here, you know, I've actually added another one, but like the first one's about 1,000, second one is 1,500, and even this third one is cheaper than the first one used to be. So I'm probably going to go up with another mark here on the force fields later. But you can really do a lot with that. Then the logistical command stations also get more engineers and another factory, so they are more useful in, you know, using all of that rebuilding to help reinforce nearby fleets. So that has been a significant change. Now, we have gone forward some. Notice our AI progress is up higher at 186, and we're actually just above the floor now. I went past the second CPA because it just wasn't very intense. Like, the first one was 225 strength, this one was 275, and we've been flattening them as it is, so, you know, that would be very repetitive to go through that. I did also grab these two systems up here. This is the fleet that had the Parasite Corvettes along with some other things. And then this one gave us some more energy with the Zenith power generator. Tons of energy right now, but we're going to be definitely using it. Okay, so our next bit to deal with then is the FRS. And if we take a look here, these are the fleet research stations. And they basically allow you to get ships. First of all, it's a very powerful ship line that you get. And then it'll also boost a limited amount of ship lines within the fleet that it's in. So, for example, you can see here, bonus turns on in fleets with 5 or fewer, non-flagship, non-elite. Now, you get 12 AI progress for these hacks, but this one is doubling the shield strength, the encircling spider, along with a lot of really good ships that are good at slowing the enemy. The Ultima Fusion Bomber is usually overall the best one. I would normally get this, but I'm not going to this time. 50% bonus to the hull strength and the attack power of 5 lines, including the flagship. Now, the reason I'm not going with it is if you look at the double bonus of the shield strength. The description here is a little bit strange, but it is particularly good for frigates. Obviously, strike craft don't have shields anymore, so there's no point in doubling the shields of those. But the Rorqual Hagira we have. I mean, if we double that thing's shield strength, its shields are going to be insane because it already has a good shield, and then we hacked earlier in the game to increase the shield, then add a bunch of frigates in there that also have a bonus to their shield strength. We're definitely going to have a group that's very tanky. So that's what I want to do in this particular case. Now, our Hive Golem is still making its way back here after the CPA. We're not going to worry too much about that. But I am going to want to put this in the Hagira, so we'll select that. And we are going to steal the encircling spiders. You can see 27 strength all by themselves. Okay. And let's move everybody over here. This is a quick hack, so it's not going to take that long to do it. You see the response is pretty significant, getting up over 100 strength. And now we're just going to clean up the mess. Of course, the botnet doing work as always. And our Hive Golem has eventually come in. Okay. So now let's switch all of our ships around, because if we look at this, you'll see the description says, oh, you got 21 fleet lines, this isn't going to work. So, what I want to do is grab this other fleet, the one that we recently captured, and let's do some swapping and pull everything out of here. So, what do we want to leave? We want to leave frigates that are going to benefit from having high shields. Well, let's leave in the Assault. Let's leave in the Mugger. Obviously, the Encircling Spider has to stay there. Ripper can stay there. The Ambush Carriers I don't necessarily want to leave. Let's pull out the Raids as well, because their high shields are not really a big part of what they do. And let's yank all the rest of these. And let's just see where we are after that. Is this going to be close to the right amount? Okay. And that is... If I pull it up here, yep, you have 5 in this fleet. All of that is working well. And look at the Hagira. It was at 5.5 million, just over. Now it's 11 million shield. I mean, that's... that's getting close to Spire Great Shield territory, okay? This is fantastic. All right. So, moving on from this then... We want to go on and hit our next hacking job, which is going to be the Spire Archive. But it's worth noting that this is a particularly effective way to boost your fleet with the FRS ships, because you don't have to, unlike the high-capacity transport even, you're not paying additional metal or energy. They simply, they cost the same thing, but you're gaining additional effect from them. So here's our Spire Archive, and this has not changed at all. In the rebalancing, it's exactly what it was before. You have got to hack this, and you get 8,000 science from it. So that's big. And we're going to basically sit in here. We're going to take over this planet, because I have decided to take the Armored Golem. We'll do some more FRS Abuse with that coming up. But given how long this hack takes, I'm just going to get it going. And you see, if it's failed or canceled, AI progress goes up by 80. So you have to make sure that does not happen. But I'm not particularly worried about that in this case. There we go. And then where are we going to want to put our command station? Like, we are not having any healthy areas nearby except for Malm. So we have to worry about the other 3, potential entrances. These 3 over here. So we're just going to throw our logistical, somewhere back here. And we'll call that good. And these are, very long. On difficulty 7, it's a 5-minute hack. So let's just boost our speed here. And settle in for a fun time. Just going to move some things around. Gradually build up our turrets. While we turn a stupid amount of enemy ships once more into zombies, and we're taking over that golem. Of course, spiking our AI progress ever higher, but we can take it. You can see the threat's pretty high, but that's relative. couple force fields in there. Let's throw up our pikes. Oh, I missed one group. There we are. Fusions. Gravity generator effects. This is, I think, a little bit older change, but they don't stack anymore. So that's worth noting. You know what? Why don't you just go on pursuit as well? And we'll move you so that nothing's lasting long enough for you to even pursue it. That's the funny thing about that. Okay. And how are we doing here? Still got a minute and a half left. And at this point, we do need to start thinking about, okay, what's my endgame science going to look like? Because we are getting pretty close to the final attack. First thing I definitely want to do as soon as this is over is boost my turrets the final bit. And I also think I want to invest in like the human resistance fighters and also my Outguard. We did do a couple more Outguard hacks as well, so we now have the max, like every Outguard in the galaxy, all hacked. As you can see, we just dominated this hack as you'd expect. Here's the last hurrah. Okay. Let's do some of that research. Now we're up to 15,000. So I'm going to definitely get the final turret hull boost. It's expensive, but it's going to be worth it. Then we're going to grab another force field. And then let's grab... Where's it at? There we go. The expatriate ones for our Outguard. So we're going to grab a couple of those. There we go. We'll get some more science, but that should really help us out. Now, what on earth? 210. You don't say. Well, that'll be fun. Where's that at? Back here. Okay. So if we look, I mean, you know, they're not particularly happy with us grabbing the Armored Golem. That's fine. They're going to scale this up for sure. So we'll want to go and rescue that, but it won't be a problem doing that. We will get all of that taken care of. And then if we look at our Outguard, we're going to start spawning these War Harvesters every chance we get. So we're going to gather up as many as we can because those are the permanent ones. And then from here, we need to have some FRS buddies for the Armored Golem. So that'll be our next project. This is Airwix, where our next FRX is. There is a dire Tethwita awaiting, and there is a Ion Eye. But this is just sort of a bit in showing off how ridiculous our fleet is at this point, because we can just basically ignore the Ion Eye. A Mark 5 Ion Eye, even Mark 7, they're not as strong, and look, it's going to hurt, but we're just going to plunge in here and brute force this. There's no point in subtlety anymore at this stage. So let's go ahead and unload everybody. You know, and the Guardian's gone. And now we're going to start taking out guard posts. We're getting pounded, but you see the human resistance fighters coming in as well. And you see there's significant strength in that. They're not nothing. I've seen as high as about 60 strength come in. Depends on how often they decide to join, how much time you have in between, but still invincible. We've got to knock out more guard posts. There we go. Okay, now our problem here is that there's got to be some stealth. We have all 4 of them left are stealthed. So let's just go ahead and,
yes, sir. With pleasure.
You know, spread out to various places. There we go. There's one over here. Now, how are we doing? There we go. Bingo. Okay. And now we knock you out. Everybody's going to go after the eye on eye. Finally. There it is. And then we're going to clear out the rest of this. Beautiful. Now, there are probably going to be some more in here and all of that we're going to deal with. How many more do we have? One more. Are we seeing it? I don't think we are. Now, see, I would like to get rid of this counterattack. So we just got to hunt around and find it. Okay, it was right down in this corner. So now that's cleared out. We have no more counterattack. And it is time to get another ship from the FRS. So we could go with the Ireful MLRS Corvette. 50% hull strength, 50% shield. And you get up to 7 lines with that. Or the Tutelar Pulsar tanks. Only 4, but it doubles their hull strength. And the thing about this is the Armored Golem is specifically tanky. So doubling that hull strength, that's massive. And that's what we're going to go for here. Let's just clear this out. Of course, the last capture of, you know, getting the previous FRS and grabbing that system with the Spire Archive and the Armored Golem did put us up into AI Mark III. But again, we want to do that anyway. You have to get to Mark III when you go onto the AI homeworld, so we're just going to equalize that and take whatever we can along the way. There we go. So, let's see what our new toy looks like. Now, we'll be switching around some of the ships in the fleet. But let's see. We have 5 in the fleet. Okay, we've got to swap 1 out. For now, we'll just throw out the siege frigates. And we'll just stick those in the space whale. Nope, not that one, actually. That's not what we want. We're going to throw them in this one. Okay. So that's where we are. And then we're going to... Are we ready? We indeed are. We are no longer complaining. Now, the Armored Golem has, at the moment, 4 million health. That's at Mark 1. Let's put a couple levels into that. We'll do more when we get more science. 7 million health. So between that and the Hagira, we're going to have an insane amount of damage absorption potential. And of course, we're also upgrading the damage from the Armored Golem and all of that. So now, we just want to go capture a few more things. Really fill out our force here. Under 2 million metal, or energy rather. I want to come over this way. Tethan has warbird frigates. So the siege frigates and the auto bomb are decent, but I like the warbird frigates. The assault frigates aren't bad either. And then this, the Voidhome Arc. And this is essentially a souped up support fleet with some extra fun. It's got a bunch of drones. None of that is going to be that exciting. It actually generates some energy. But the main thing is, you can see that it has 10,000 speed for construction for mobile fleets. Well, the regular support fleets have 2,000. So this thing is really going to soup up our rebuilding potential, along with all the other fun things it brings along. More warbird frigates, snipers. Once we get this in tow, our rebuilding capacity should equal the massively overpowered capabilities of the rest of our fleet. So we've secured these two systems down here, added the Voidhome to what we have, and I think we've about reached the point, the tipping point. There's a diminishing returns where continuing to take more territory, adding more AI progress, eventually it's counterproductive. And if we had designed our empire a little bit differently, of course, we could go higher in AI progress if we had, for example, more solid clusters of territory. We have military on the edge and economic behind them to get a little more energy. That could work, and there are different things that you can play around with. But at this point, I don't think it's worth going any further. We're going to want to increase our defenses. You can see they're hitting us with an over 300 strength wave here, which just gives you an idea, several thousand ships as it begins to scale up further. And so we're going to need to divide our forces, some to defend and some to attack the homeworld. So from here out, what I'm going to do between now and the next episode is just balance everything. Going to use some of this energy, do a little bit more hacking of the turret schematic servers. For example, here, I'm definitely going to want to grab some more in here. Possibly the pikes, possibly the nucleophilics. I'm definitely going to want to grab these spiders, then put some more turrets defensively up on our systems. And then just see where the balance point is in terms of, getting the energy down to a manageable surplus. And then how much do I want to leave to defend? How much do I want to leave to attack? And hopefully, next episode will be the conclusion of this run, as we will commence the attack on the homeworld of Ulit. So, looking forward to that. Thanks for watching, everybody. AI War 2 will continue.